Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
I'm super excited to be here with you today, Londa.
Let's go.
The reason I'm excited is because this is the post-Super Bowl 58 program.
It is. It's also post One Summit. We'll tell you more about what that is.
And it's post Malone.
No.
Who sang at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He's an interesting cat.
Yeah. I think his face tattoos are a good choice. And the grill, spectacular.
Okay.
It's not my look, but it's his.
Thank God. Yeah, so lots of exciting things to talk about today. So stay tuned. Don't leave early. Listen, this podcast is only about 30 minutes long anyway. Don't act like you don't have 30 minutes.
Right. We're going to want you to stick around to the end because we always uncover at least one thing that our listeners call us later in the week and say, oh, that one thing.
That one thing.
I like that one thing. I talked about David. It was so good. So there you go. The Session with Londa and David is a business program, and we like to bring it to you each and every week because we have an advertisement that we like to surreptitiously stick into the show. And here it is. With interest rates coming back down and talk of inflation being part of every major newscast in the nation, the real estate market is starting to heat up. It's heating up here where we are. Mm-hmm. It's heating up where you are.
Hallelujah.
And the weather's getting pretty too. Don't wait until April to take advantage of the momentum building in the market. Sherwood Austin Homes can help you buy and sell real estate for yourself and even your business. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth or how much buying power you have or whether or not it makes sense to relocate your business, Sherwood Austin Homes would like to be your first choice. All you need to remember is SherwoodAustinHomes.com. That's SherwoodAustinHomes.com.
Yep, that'll get you everything else.
That'll bring you right to our website, and you'll be able to find out all about what we're doing.
Phone numbers and our email and all the stuff, and you can search, and we don't make you register. You're welcome.
Absolutely. Find out if a move in 2024 makes sense for you with Sherwood Austin Homes, powered by Realty One Group Ignite.
Ignite. Light it up. So speaking of Realty One Group Ignite, we spent 4 days last week in Las Vegas.
That's right.
At One Summit. It's Realty One Group's annual Big Damn Show.
Right. And if you've never been to a, quote, big damn show,
that's what I call them.
It's the big rah-rah that your company does.
And if you don't know anything about Realty One Group, I'll just briefly tell you, we're an international company all over the U.S., but we've just been here in Eastern Washington for about 2 years. Right. So it was kind of fun to see the parade of countries. To see, they did like a flag parade. Like if you've ever been on a
Did you say flag parade?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like if you've ever been on a cruise, they do that same kind of thing, the international flag
I know what you're talking
parade
about now.
Thing.
Yes.
So they did the same kind of thing, showing all the 20 or so countries that Realty One Group are in, and the way they name their offices, everybody is Realty One Group and then a word.
Right.
So Realty One Group, I don't know.
Backgammon.
Well, ours is Ignite.
Ours is Ignite.
Yeah.
I wonder where Realty One Group Backgammon is.
I don't know that they have one. Anyway, it was everything those things are supposed to be. And
Right.
I highly recommend that if your company has one of those things, or if you have the ability to attend one, do. I've been to a million of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've invested so much money into those kind of things over
Sure.
the years, and I'm never sorry. I'm
Right.
always glad that I took the time to pull away and kind of immerse myself into this particular kind of energy, right? So it did exactly what it's supposed to do. It was educational, it was inspirational, and it was tiring.
It was. Somebody asked you when we got back from Las Vegas, how was your vacation? And what did you tell them?
It was the worst vacation ever because it was a business conference.
I love that.
If it was a vacation, it sucked.
Yeah.
We did get to our group that went. We took I don't know, it's like 6 or 8 of us or something.
Yeah.
And from our office, and our broker owner rented a party bus one night. We drove up and down the strip. We went to the Las Vegas sign and took pictures.
I'm certain there are incriminating videos of the party bus. I don't know where they are, but I'm sure
they're on my
exist.
phone.
Okay.
Your secret is safe with me. I will just say this as far as the incriminating information goes. I will only say this. If you're going to go on a trip, make sure you have a cheer mom with you, because
they know how to party.
They know how to travel with everything you might need for a night out. And I'll just leave it at that. No, I'll leave it at that.
Soda.
So while
and they even know how to make ice transportable.
While we were there, I got to go to the top producers event.
Right.
That was fun. So congratulations to me. I actually was able to get you in as well.
That's right.
So that was fun. And we made a lot of great connections there. I went to the women's luncheon, and at the women's luncheon got this beautiful little cup.
It is a really
it's
cool
so
cup.
cute. If you're watching the video, it's so cute. But look, it's even cuter, I think, when you have a little lip print on it.
And
I
that's
just
because you're wearing lipstick. That's not on the cup.
Anyway, it says One Love on it, and it has a 1 there because our whole
Realty One Group.
Yeah, our whole deal is like everyone matters.
Right. That's right.
Everyone has a voice. Everyone's important. So there were a lot of speakers at that event. Was there anyone that you came away? We heard a lot of people, a lot of big names, but anybody that you came away and like their message has stayed with you?
So was his name Jesse Itzman or Eisenman? Itzner, whatever it was, that guy, he was incredible. He's a guy who started a jet company when he had no airplanes, Marquis Jet, had no airplanes. I'm going to start a private jet service.
Yeah.
No airplanes and no hope of getting one.
Yeah.
He started that and sold that to Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, for about $1 billion.
Yeah.
So that guy was really cool to listen to.
He's married to the Spanx lady, the lady that invented Spanx, whose name I can't remember right off the top of my head. Sarah
Spanksley.
I can't.
Yeah. Whatever.
But anyway.
His story was spectacular. One thing I really liked about his story is the beginning of it was all about his failures, not about his successes. And I love that because he was not in any way apologetic for the spectacular failures he has had in building his
That's so real,
his
though,
brand.
isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I could do that. I could give you that same talk.
Well, right. When he, though, talked about how he had to go to meet the people who would be able to pay $100,000 for what is like a credit card so they could fly on your private jet, which at the time he did not own.
Right.
That was spectacular. That was such a great story.
So he had to go where the money was,
Right.
and he heard that there was a something called a TED Talk, which now, of course, we all know what those are,
Right.
but being held in
Silicon Valley.
somewhere in Silicon Valley, and he heard that there'd be a lot of people there with a lot of money.
Right.
So he went to this, but he didn't have he got there and realized he didn't have a ticket. So he spent the first day trying to figure out how he was going to snake his way into this event,
Right.
and couldn't figure it out. But what he did is he sat at this Starbucks nearby and during that day, and he noticed everybody that came through in the morning, they got a coffee and a muffin, and then they went over to the conference. So the second morning, he went into Starbucks as soon as they opened and bought every single muffin in the place.
Right.
So then he went and sat down and kind of hid the muffins. And so the first guy comes in, he orders a coffee and a muffin. Oh, sorry, we're out of muffins.
Right.
Oh, you're out of muffins. What the heck? So he gets his coffee as he's walking by. Jesse goes, hey, I just happen to have an extra muffin. You can have it if you like. And the guy goes, oh, that'd be great. Yeah. And Jesse says, well, go ahead and, have a seat and I
saved this seat for you.
Yeah,
and we'll talk while you have your muffin.
And the guy sits down and ended up he goes, asks Jesse, what do you do? He says, I have this private jet company, and this is kind of how it works and what we do. And the guy says, man, I'm actually looking for that.
Yeah.
And that's how he did it. He said, and that was the story that was just like, you figure out a way, right? You go over, you go under, you go around, you figure out a way.
Yeah.
You figure out a way.
And
to
I
win.
love how he said he was an unsuccessful rapper, like a terribly received rapper with awful reviews. And he got a show booked because Vanilla Ice couldn't do it. This was in like the early 90s. Vanilla
did he
Ice
say
couldn't
in
do
Detroit?
it. Somewhere. And that's not really what's important, but he did not have great success. But while he was touring on this tour, he somehow landed on a private jet with his buddy. And when he was on the private jet, they started talking and were like, oh my God, do people really fly this way? This is the greatest thing that I've ever seen. We need to figure out how to do this for people who don't have millions of dollars of their own to fly on private jets. So he came up with the whole idea for Marquis Jet while they were flying to another stop, and wildly successful.
Sarah Blakely.
There you go, Sarah Blakely. And you weren't Googling that. It just hit you. It came into
it just
your
hit
head.
me.
So anyway, long story short, his message about creating opportunity for yourself, seeing the prize and going for it.
Yep.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Really changed the way I think about what I do. And that's what these conferences do.
Exactly. And, there are some people that go to these conferences and they take notes, they take copious notes, and they're listening really carefully and they're recording everything. And and I would encourage you, because I've been to so many of these for the last 30 years, you don't need to do that.
Right.
You're looking for the one thing.
Right.
That one little thing that hits you and sticks with you.
Right.
And that is one that saved me a lot of time and stress once I learned that. You're just looking for that one takeaway that you're going to take home and you're going to implement.
And most of the speakers at this event had at least one thing that was moving or inspirational or made me look at myself a different way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Jade Simmons was incredible.
She was incredible. Find out what makes you unique and you do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it scares you. Do what makes you you.
A classical pianist who mixes classical piano and rap.
And the reason
awesome.
she came to that was because when she went to graduate school for advanced musical training, she found out quickly, there are thousands of me.
Yeah.
Thousands of people who can
really
play
talented.
Mozart and Tchaikovsky and Brahms and Beethoven, and they all know it and they can play it. There are thousands of that. So what makes you different? And she leaned into what makes her different.
Yeah.
And what a cool story.
Yeah.
I also really liked her because she happens to be an African-American piano player, and she thought, I don't want to lean on being African-American to make me stand out. Do you know what I mean? She didn't like that distinction.
Right.
She thinks of herself as a classical pianist, not a black classical pianist. And I thought that was a great story. I thought she was so relatable and so interesting, and using who you are to set you apart, but not to change your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Don't frame the world.
Well, yeah, and
cynically.
Aaron Andrews was also a guest.
That's right.
Sideline reporter for Fox. Is it?
Yes, sideline reporter for
Fox Sports.
Yep.
And she was incredible listening to her. They did a Q&A at the end, and I wish I'd gotten up and asked my question, because my question was, a lot of people asked about being a woman and breaking into a male-dominated field and blah, blah, blah. Here was my question. Aaron, be honest. When was the moment that you realized being a female in a male-dominated field was actually your superpower?
Oh, that's a
because
good question.
I think she had that moment at some point. And it kind of ties into the use what you've got, what's unique about you.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. We also heard from Peyton Manning.
Yep.
We heard from Terry Crews.
Yep.
We heard from the Magic Man.
Right. Don Bross is his last name.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Pro football player who does magic tricks and was on America's Got Talent.
Yep.
Is that right?
And I liked him on America's Got Talent.
Yeah. His story was pretty shocking.
His stories.
I won't ruin it for you.
Yeah, he buried the lead for sure.
Whew. The whole room gasped when he finally got to the lead. But so lots of people, lots of information. It really inspired me to come home and start digging back into some of the speakers and people that I used to follow, that I stopped following when I was in my 4 years of burnout recovery.
Okay.
And so now I'm coming at it, like I listened to interview between Tony Robbins and Theo Vaughn. That was really, really interesting. Tony Robbins, of course, I've followed for a really long time, but I had to stop listening to those kind of people for the last few years because I had hit such severe burnout. I needed to take a step back. Now I'm coming back into work and life with a different perspective, right?
Okay.
I'm not afraid of hitting burnout again. I've got better boundaries. I'm in a healthier place in my life and that kind of thing. But it really did inspire me. Like, oh yeah, I used to listen to Tony Robbins and he was really motivating. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so that kind of thing. So that was great, and we're happy to be home and ready to get with it. And then we had Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the Super Bowl because watching that game, I saw something that I found very interesting in the style of play of the two teams.
Okay.
Early on in the game, the 49ers took a huge lead, it seemed, because it was a very high defensive game.
In case you're listening to this sometime in the great far future, we're talking about Super Bowl 58.
Right.
Between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
Go.
Okay. So anyway, Taylor Swift. No, I'm kidding. Taylor was there, by the way, but that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. So the San Francisco 49ers took a lead and were up by 10 early in the game, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a very low scoring game.
Yeah.
10-0. And then, right before the half, there was a field goal that the Chiefs kicked and brought it 10-3.
Yeah.
Right? So a 7-point spread going into the half. Well, it looked like in the first half of the game that the 49ers were dominating, even though their very first drive, they fumbled on the 10-yard line and didn't get back into the red zone again, really the whole game. They didn't run any plays from the red zone. But here's the thing. Stop pretending you're falling asleep. What I'm getting at is at no time did it look like they were trying to win. It looked like they were trying not to lose. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, even though for most of the game, the Chiefs looked like they were not doing well. It looked like they were having a rough go of it.
Yeah.
They looked like they wanted to win. So they were playing to win, and it occurred to me that it looked like the 49ers were playing not to lose. And that's a different headspace.
It is a very different headspace. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So when it's maybe the difference of offense and defense, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you know that you came to win. And I feel like that we just had a listing appointment yesterday, and I felt like that going into that.
Right.
In fact, you said something to me yesterday morning before the listing appointment, and I actually said to you, I don't need to think about that right now. It was like what if? And I was like, I don't need to think about that right now.
Right.
I don't even want it in my head. And it's kind of that same idea. I came to win, and there is no room for anything else.
Right. Force of nature.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is such a different headspace than, I hope I don't lose this.
Well, I don't know that they were saying, I hope I don't lose it, but they weren't taking a ton of risks. They had one trick play that worked out really well for them, by the way, and it was cool. But
I didn't mean that they said that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm relating it to some of, the way that we talk to ourselves.
Sure. And
right?
like if you have a client, right? This is something I've talked to a lot of lenders in the last 20 years, as I've been one for that long. And since COVID, a lot of lenders, actually really more recent than that, since the interest rates doubled in a month in 2023, what I would tell you, when you talk to lenders, most of them talk about, I really need to keep this client. So they're trying to not lose the client. They're not trying to win the client.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
I do. I'm right with you.
And if you have I'm not going to lose this, I'm trying not to lose, you're less aggressive, and you might make some simple mistakes.
Well, you're actually training your brain to lose.
Right.
Because you're focused on the lose.
Right.
I hope it's like when you're walking on, gravel and you're like, I hope I don't fall. I hope I don't fall. I hope I don't fall.
Then you fall. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's that same thing. All I do is win.
I like that.
All I do is win. I used to say it all the time, and then I got burned out. And now we're back, though. I've got
all
on my...
All I do is win, no matter what.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm back to having my warm-up song before I go into an appointment.
Right.
I'm back to, listening to motivating things. I'm back to, I've got on my whiteboard right now a saying that I've used for years and years and years, which is get up, dress up, and show up.
Right.
And it's just a mantra that I've told myself for years. You just say, listen, there are days when I don't feel like getting out of bed. That's just the truth.
Right.
And I have to play games with myself in my headspace a little bit. And I'll tell myself, and if you think I'm talking about a long time ago, I did this last week.
Okay.
Last week. 4 days ago.
Okay.
You left for work. I was still at home. I crawled back in bed. I just felt, I don't know, not good. All of a sudden, I felt sick.
Oh.
Felt like I was getting the flu. I'm tired. I don't know what's wrong. I don't feel good. And I thought, you know what? No. Get up, dress up, show up. Okay, all I have to do, I couldn't handle the whole thing all at once.
Right.
Somebody is going to hear this and it's going to resonate with them.
Sure.
All you have to do is get up. That's what I told myself. All you have to do is get up. Just get up and make the bed. Just get up. And then if you don't want to do anything else, you don't have to. But just get up.
Okay.
Well, then once I got up and made the bed, I thought, well, shit, I might as well take a shower.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Just take a shower. And then if you decide you don't want to do anything else, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just take a shower. And once I had my shower taken, I thought, well, I'll just put some moisturizer on my face. Well, while I'm here, I might as well put a little bit of makeup on. Well, now that my makeup's done, I might as well get dressed.
Right.
Okay. But you know what? After you get dressed, if you feel like you don't want to do anything, you don't have to.
I like it.
Once I was dressed, I was like, well, shit.
I might as well get out of the house.
I might as well go to the office now. And all of a sudden, before I knew it, I got up, I dressed up, and I showed up. And the dress up part, just so you know, is dress for whatever. If you want to go to the gym,
dress for the gym.
There's clothing that goes with that, right? That's
yes.
what I mean by dress up. I don't mean like put on fancy clothes.
Well, but you do put on fancy clothes because you're a fancy lady.
That's not what I mean, though, and I want to be very clear about that.
Get up, dress up, show up.
Yep. Dress up for whatever the task is that you need to do.
Okay.
Right?
And when I dress up, I learned a long time ago in business, look like your customer.
But that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, I got you.
So let me explain the concept.
Sure.
Let's say the task that you have to do is pull weeds in the flower bed.
Dress up for that.
Dress for that. Yes.
Right.
That's what I mean. Get up, dress up, show up. It's okay. It's okay. Just one little step at a time. And some days are like that. Some days are like that. But if you're going to play to win, you got to figure out how to get those little wins so you can get the big win.
I gotcha.
Right?
Yes.
So there you go.
I learned young, and I've helped train mortgage professionals to think this way. If you think that you're a force of nature, things don't slow your deal down.
Yeah.
Someone may come at you with a problem. I solve problems. I'm a force of nature.
Right.
Solve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And if you believe that you have the special skill, the unique superpower to do what you need to do in anything, you can do it.
Right.
If you don't believe you can do it, you for sure will not do it.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
If you play not to lose, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah. Well,
but if you play to win, you're going to be Patrick Mahomes going to Disneyland after winning your second Super Bowl in a row, and now you're going for a three-peat.
Yep. There you go.
I got to tell you.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
That's right. That's exactly right. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. If you believe you can, you can.
Yeah.
And if you believe you can't, you won't.
That's exactly. It's so true. And I hate to admit it, but the truth is it's not it's not anything mystical. It actually is brain science.
And you could see it on the face of that kid, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
When he was losing.
Yep.
You could see it on his face. And he was in the lead in overtime. Mm-hmm. And you could see on his face, I didn't get the touchdown. Son of a bitch. Do you know what I mean? That look was in his eyes for the last 6 minutes of that game. Yeah. And I felt so bad for that kid. He did a great job. He played a good game of football. A really good game of football.
Yeah. What's interesting, I was just telling you yesterday or the day before, I was talking about I put on an article of clothing that I hadn't had on in a few years, and it fit just fine. I didn't expect it to, right? I expected it to be tight. I expected it to not fit. I expected it to be too small now. And I said to you, I think I've been gaslighting myself.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, well, if I can gaslight myself into thinking negatively, I bet I could gaslight myself into thinking positively.
And you don't have to gaslight yourself. But you have been gaslighting
You get
yourself.
what I'm saying, though, right? Like, if you can, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. And,
right.
And that's just the fact of the matter. So let's all go out and win.
I wish you saw yourself the way I see you.
Well, that would be lovely.
Because I think you're the most spectacular thing in the world. And when you talk to me about not looking your best, I think you're nuttier than a fruitcake because you are the greatest thing I've ever looked at.
Well, thank you.
You're like a shiny penny.
Well,
and I want to pick it up.
Pick me up and put me in your pocket. I don't know what else to say about that. I hope you got some inspiration from this show today.
I sure did. And that outfit that you didn't think you'd look great in, you've always looked spectacular in it.
Well, thanks.
There you go. That's all I have.
That's all I've got.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think that'll do.
I think the Super Bowl was a really fun game, and it really was, to me, obvious sales training. That's what that game was to me. I learned some stuff watching those people play.
That's good stuff.
It was good stuff to me. This has been The Session with Londa and David. For Londa, Joanne Sherwood Austin, the prettiest girl in the world, my name is David Austin. We'll see you next week.